Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified every time that I post. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about procrastination. It's something that is extremely common in my life. It is a problem for me, but it has gotten a lot better over time. I started my channel in December of 2019, so about a month and a half ago, and my goal was to have a video uploaded every single day, which probably seems like a lot, but I feel like it's definitely doable. I definitely have the potential to do that. I made this video to help others stop procrastinating, but I feel like I'm really helping myself in the process as well. I've only made 5 videos on my channel, and I feel like I should have made a lot more by now. Even though this is a big problem for me now, I actually used to be a lot worse. I kind of get a lot done currently, but about 3 years ago, I really was a piece of shit with literally everything, especially in high school. Yeah, in high school, I procrastinated about literally everything. Like anything you can think of, I held off till last minute. I just didn't get anything done. I was very, very unproductive. I procrastinated about going to bed at night at 10 p.m. I would be like, I don't need 8 hours of sleep, I'll just watch another show. And then at 11 p.m. I'd be like, nobody freaking sleeps for 7 hours, I'll just watch another show. And then I'd be up at midnight, I don't need 6 hours of sleep, I can survive off 5, and then I'd just watch another show. And it just kept going and going until it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, you know what, if I go to sleep right now, I'm not gonna wake up because 2 hours of sleep is just not enough. So I'm just gonna stay up all night long. And then when I did get sleep, I would procrastinate about waking up in the morning. I'd be like, Mom, I need 5 more minutes, and then close my eyes. And I would just keep doing that over and over again until it was like 6:45 and the bus gets here at like 7. So I would get up at like 6:45, 15 minutes till the bus came. I would literally just rush around, throw random clothes on, find my backpack that I didn't do my homework in. So all the books were still in there, of course, so I didn't have to find those because I didn't do my homework. Then I go upstairs, look at myself in the mirror, really not brush my hair, honestly. And one thing I could say is I never forgot to brush my teeth. I think if you forget to brush your teeth, that's really disgusting, and you should be like in a quarantine unit if you do not brush your teeth. I just think it's the most disgusting thing ever, like seriously. Then I'd get on the bus and I'd be like, oh my God, the homework I didn't finish, I need to get it done. And I would just whip out my homework, get some of it done on the bus, get some of it done in the cafeteria before my classes. I would do my math homework in history class, my history homework in English class, and it was just all mixed up. And I didn't pay attention in class because I was too busy getting my homework done that I should have gotten done the night before. And it was just a huge hole that I dug myself, and I couldn't get myself out of pretty much all of high school. I always had rework, and the rework I had, I never did. So I just had this mountain of work that I created that I didn't have to create in the first place. I should have just done my homework. I should have just went to sleep when I was supposed to. I should have just done the things I was supposed to do, but I decided not to do those things. And it is one of my biggest regrets, is not trying harder in high school. I wish I could go back and change some of those things. But yeah, our minds are really good at convincing us that tasks are bigger and harder than they really are. And our minds love to keep us stuck in the comfort zone. The main things I believe stem to procrastination is fear and overthinking. The fear aspect of it is associated a lot with not wanting to fail. I personally don't like failing. Nobody does. It sucks and it's mentally draining. And as human beings, we aren't really prone to failing. It's not comfortable for us. But honestly, it's a part of life, and I really think failing is a great thing because it helps eliminate the things we are doing wrong so we know what to do better next time. We really are good at convincing ourselves that failing is this horrific thing, and if we fail, we should just pretty much crawl under a rock and die. And this really isn't true. Failing is just human nature, and we shouldn't be scared of it. Eliminating your fear of failing should definitely help with procrastination in your life. if it is something that you do. The overthinking aspect of procrastination ties a lot to perfectionism and wanting every little thing to be perfect. If you really want to overcome procrastinating, you're really going to have to realize that everything isn't going to be exactly as planned, and you're going to have to be okay with that. I'm really talking to myself honestly with this because I am such a perfectionist and I just want everything to be exactly how I, want it to be and how I planned it out. I procrastinated on starting my channel for over a year. I was just really scared that things weren't going to go good, and in order to start, I needed to have all this fancy equipment, and then I need to spend a ton of money investing towards it, but really that's not true at all. The only thing I have put towards my channel is my microphone and my tripod, and both of those were like $10 a piece. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of my videos, but they definitely are getting better over time. All my editing apps are completely free. I didn't purchase a fancy camera, and my backdrop is literally just a curtain. Like, even when I started my channel, my first video, I didn't even have the tripod and the microphone. It's not even mandatory. It's just something that I wanted to purchase because I think that it's good to invest in those things over time. When I first started my channel, I had a stack of books for my tripod, and I just didn't have a microphone at all. But I actually saw this quote that really inspired me to start my channel, even though I didn't have a bunch of fancy equipment. And the quote is, "Use what you have until what you have pays for what you want." I don't know where I saw this, but I think it's genius. It made me realize I really don't need anything fancy. I just need my voice and good content. Eventually I do want to get better equipment, but it isn't really a priority for me anymore. But anyways, back to the subject. And yeah, if you really are dedicated to not procrastinating anymore, I would really highly suggest getting rid of fear and to let go of trying to be perfect, because really that's not realistic and nobody's perfect and it's just not going to happen. So you should just let go of that completely. There are a lot of psychological traits that could lead you to procrastinate. 4 of those traits are ADHD, depression, anxiety, and OCD. Anxiety causes you to overthink the worst possible scenario. So if you're looking at like a project or something you need to get done and you're overthinking the worst possible outcome of that, then obviously you're going to get really anxious and overwhelmed, and you're just not going to invest the time in that thing. Depression just leaves you sad and depressed and unmotivated, so obviously you're not going to start the project if you're just sitting around depressed and like wallowing in self-pity pretty much. ADHD also leads to overthinking. So if you're overthinking and you're very hyperactive and very, just out and about, and you're just thinking about all the worst possible things, kind of like anxiety. ADHD ties to anxiety a lot, but if you're overthinking a lot, you're just not going to get around to the project because it's just too overwhelming to even begin. Like, where do you even start? And OCD just makes you think that everything needs to be perfect and in the exact spot, and if it's not 100%, ready to go, then you just can't do it. These things definitely are treatable, and if you are suffering from any of these, I would advise seeing a counselor. I personally see a counselor regularly every week, and it has helped me tremendously with a lot of these things. I have anxiety for sure. I struggle with anxiety a lot. Sometimes I have depression, and sometimes I even have a little bit of ADHD, but I definitely have anxiety. That's my main thing, and going to a counselor to help me with that and to talk about my problems really helps me work through those emotions and stuff. The last thing I want to bring up are small tips that have helped me cope with procrastinating. The first tip that has helped me is breaking down projects into smaller tasks. So if you have this big project and you break it down into smaller projects, it just makes it less overwhelming, and it just helps you reach the overall project by doing smaller things to reach towards that goal. The next tip I have is making a daily schedule. So if you plan out your day in advance, it just is less stressing and overwhelming on you if you know exactly what you're going to do pretty much every hour of the day, and everything's mapped out, and you don't really have to worry about what you do next and if you're doing the right thing, and if you're doing it at the right time. It's just already planned out for you. The next tip I have is setting the bar low on your goals and your standards. So at the beginning of my channel, I had a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I kind of disappointed myself because that wasn't realistic. But I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, so I didn't really know where to begin. But I did end up disappointing myself in the end, which kind of led to procrastination and depression because I just didn't reach my goal. But if I would have set my standards a little bit lower, then it would have been more achievable, and I wouldn't have been so upset. And the last tip I have is to be deliberate on your study environment. So if you're trying to study or work on something, then choose somewhere that is quiet and eliminates distractions like your cell phone or the television. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Remember that the goals ahead of you are not as big and as drastic as they may seem, and just go for them. Don't be one of those people that never figure your life out. You don't want to be old and look back at your life one day and regret the chances that you didn't take and the things that you didn't do in life.